Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and a very happy hump day from everybody here at Prime Sports World. And before we get up into the content, I just want to give a huge shout out to Izzy and little Izzy as they took home the Super Bowl last weekend. Oh, the trophy. Let's go, baby. I just want to give you a shout out, man. Kudos on being a great dad. Kudos on little Izzy on kicking home that trophy. I know you're busy doing that kind of stuff, so you couldn't be on the pod. But daddy duty is important, brother. It's important.
We were in the midst of a playoff run, and it was well worth it because we took home the hardware. And David, I'll tell you, I was the defensive coordinator. Not one team scored a touchdown. Not one team scored a point
baby.
On my defense. And how we won the Super Bowl. We won it on a 4th and goal stop in overtime, baby, to bring home the hardware, baby.
Give you a shout out. So congratulations, brother. But this is our Prime Sports World. I'm David on Point Home, and right there is Israel Rivera. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. On today's episode of the show, we are going to be talking about week number 12 in fantasy football. And as we do every single week, if you have any comments, any concerns, any questions, for either of us on during the show, we will answer those questions live, whether that be on Facebook, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on Twitch. So drop those comments down in the comment section, and we'll help you guys get your lineups right as we head into fantasy football playoffs in just a couple weeks, man. Which sounds crazy to say that we're that far down in the season already. How did you do in fantasy last week or last couple weeks? I know you are really bad in my league. Like, I'm playing you this week, man. Just start your players. Just start your guys.
I'm not even worried. I drafted, so yeah, that league I'm 0-10 and
11
or 0-11, whatever the hell, yeah. And so I just
but just so Grable doesn't get up in his feels, make sure you start your guys.
No. I always start my guys. I'm trying to get a win. I'm trying to get a win this season. I can't get a win to save my life. I don't have, the problem is, what messed me up is because I didn't draft 2 quarterbacks.
Well,
in that league. And then I had to
auto draft for a long time. So
then I was on auto draft because we did a draft during one of the football party barbecue things, and I was halfway drunk, and I did one fantasy football draft, and then ours came on, and so I auto drafted the whole thing. So yeah, I'm 0-11 in that league, but I did beat AJ, so that makes it up. I
beat AJ the week before that, so let's go.
Yeah, we're actually. Our that league, me and you we're tied. Well, you're probably beating me in points, but it's a gauntlet on our side.
I got a Josh Allen, baby, so let's go.
6 touchdowns.
Yeah. Let's talk about some real quick before we get into some ranking stuff. Unfortunately, we got to talk a little bit about some injuries. Some notable names on the injury report here. Drake London, week to week with that, I think it's a knee injury, a PCL injury. Didn't tear it, no structural damage, but I imagine he will not play in this game against New Orleans. If you're looking for somebody to replace him, you got Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, the senior, should get some more targets there, and then David Stills, the 5th, is the second wide receiver there for the Atlanta Falcons as they head up into their matchup against the New Orleans Saints. And then just piggybacking off that, Michael Penix Jr. On IR, season is probably over. If you got him, you're probably going to want to add Kirk Cousins if you can, if he's available in your league. Swinging over to the running back position, we have just one guy we got to talk about. I'm sure this is a guy you care about very much. Josh Jacobs, day to day with a knee injury. He avoided major structural damage, but it does appear that he did not practice at all today. So his status for week number 12 is up in the air. If you own Josh Jacobs, you're probably going to want to pick up Emmanuel Wilson or somebody who could be activated off IR this week, Marshawn Lloyd, who has not played much since the Packers drafted him in like the second or third round 3 seasons ago. But that dude is talented if he can ever stay healthy. So that's a guy you could probably look to target there. Calvin Ridley, if you had him on your team, broken fibula for the Tennessee Titans. Season is for sure done. If you're looking for someone to pick up, Alec Iomaner is somebody from the kid from Stanford, and then DK for the other wide receiver. But if you're being real honest with you, if you're looking at the Tennessee Titans offense for replacements for Calvin Ridley,
look somewhere else.
Look somewhere else. On a different team anywhere else. And then Aaron Rodgers day-to-day going up against the Chicago Bears this coming weekend. Fractured his hand on the non-throwing hand on the left hand. So he's probably going to try to play through it, but I don't know if he's going to play this week. He's currently day-to-day. Mason Rudolph is the guy you're going to want if you are playing fantasy and you have Aaron Rodgers and you need somebody just to get through this week. Mason Rudolph is kind of your option.
A few years ago, back a long time ago, didn't Kurt Warner play through a similar injury? Fractured. Was it on his throwing? Was it on his throwing arm though? It was his thumb, right? It was
Yeah, I mean there have been other players who've played through broken stuff on their hands. I remember it was like I don't remember who the quarterback was, but he like broke one of his fingers and he had to wear that crazy. Was it Justin Herbert? Yeah, it was Herbert. 2 years ago, he like broke a finger on his hand. He was wearing that crazy brace. It was on. I think he could probably play.
It's not gonna. But every time he gets hit, defenses are gonna make sure to hit Rodgers on this side, and I mean he's already a brittle guy. I don't know. I would sit him out. I would expect Mason Rudolph to maybe make the start. They're going against the Bears. I think the Steelers. The Bears are good this year. So, I think the Steelers will probably
but I think the Steelers literally can't afford to lose a single game. Like they have to. Like if the Ravens are right there.
It's the AFC North.
Because
you got the Browns, you got the Bengals, and then it's just you and the Ravens. Come on.
Yeah, but because that's my point. But you're probably not getting a wild card spot out of the AFC North. You basically have to win your division to make the playoffs. So,
you got 7 games left. Let them sit out a game.
Yeah, we'll see. But these are the injuries, concerns. That's stuff you kind of keep in mind as we head into week number 12. If you got any of these guys, these are probably the guys you're going to want to try to pick up and start in your fantasy football lineups, depending on where you are in the league. Let's swing into some rankings. Let's talk first about them signal callers. Let's talk about them quarterbacks. My number one guy is Lamar Jackson playing the New York Jets on Sunday afternoon. And then I got Drake May. Man, it's just Drake May's been cooking this season, man. A little bit, it's just slightly lower on Drake May than you are, but I think he has a good matchup there, and I think this New England should have a good game there as they go up against the
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, sorry, we have a putrid offense as we see the majority of the season. Jalen Hurts at number 3 going up against the Dallas Cowboys. I did not think this defense is as good as they played against the Las Vegas Raiders. Jalen Hurts could have a big game there with rushing and throwing the football. And then number 4, I got Sam Darnold. He's going to look to bounce back after his worst performance of the season with 4 interceptions against the Los Angeles Rams. And he got the perfect matchup to do it against with the Tennessee Titans coming to town. Number 5, Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers in the Christian McCaffrey Bowl going up against the Carolina Panthers on Monday Night Football. I like what I saw of Brock Purdy on his first game back off that turf toe. Looked in rhythm, good to see a rapport there with George Kittle and Juwan Jennings. So I would continue using Brock Purdy as he would have pre-injury. 6, Jared Goff, another offense that's going to try to get back on track. Also going up against a pretty solid lineup there. Detroit Lions going up against, the New York Giants, who did play the Packers pretty tough. But I think the Lions are going to try to make a point here in this game. And then number 8, Patrick Mahomes, the second going up against Indianapolis. They're going to get Kadarius Ward back for the Colts. They got Sauce Gardner. That secondary should be locked and loaded. And they're coming off their bye. I mean, that's that's a recipe for disaster. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think they're going to win the game. I just don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to have the virtuoso performance that we're expecting out of him. Coming off that game against the Denver Broncos. Number 9, I got Caleb Williams going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers that I just kind of talked about. Man, I thought like last week he wasn't that good last week, but they did win the game. I mean, the last weeks before that, man, he was just dealing. So I would keep rolling with Caleb Williams if you got him. 10, Dak Prescott, a little bit lower on Dak Prescott than I would be in normal weeks. But that Philadelphia Eagles defense is big time, and they've stifled 2 high-flower offenses in the Packers and Detroit Lions in back-to-back weeks. Look for that to potentially continue against the Dallas Cowboys. And then outside looking in, I got Bryce Young coming off his best performance as a pro with 448 yards. And I think he kind of repeats that kind of production against San Francisco 49ers who don't have the best secondary. Trevor Lawrence, look for that rushing touchdowns to keep his value sort of high in a game the Jacksonville Jaguars have to win as they go up against the Arizona Cardinals. And then Matthew Stafford came back down to earth a little bit in that game against Seattle, but still I would be confident in playing him in a deeper 12-man league. And then my sneaky and daily, I got Tyler Shook at 4,400 going up against the Atlanta Falcons. I like what I saw in him. His first win of the season against the Carolina Panthers. Get the bye, get to implement some new systems. 4,400 for Tyler, and then Shedeur Sanders at 4,200. Get some reps with the first team now in practice. They don't have a ton of tape on him. Going up against a bad Las Vegas Raiders team, even at home. I think this could be a Shedeur Sanders, especially since, this is when rookies kind of shine, their first real opponent. So Shedeur Sanders is somebody I would roll the dice on if I have in daily.
Yeah, especially against the Raiders. I mean, the defense is pretty woeful. You're getting, starting reps in practice now. Probably was the news outlets were saying that he wasn't getting any reps with the first team before. I don't know how true that is. Yeah, but I gotta give it to him. I mean, they're the ones there on the field, right, and asking the questions. So he gets first team reps full time this week. So I think that's a great matchup for him. And I think, I agree. Roll the dice on him. I mean, obviously, look, I got Jameis Winston. If you guys can see at 6,700.
I think Jackson Dart's going to play, but.
Well, we'll see. If I'm New York, I mean, why play Jackson Dart?
If I was New York, I would probably. I've seen enough out of Jackson Dart. I know he's good. I don't need to see him. I don't need to see him. I don't need to see him play again this season.
Yeah, exactly, David. Thank you. You're getting where I'm going. I think they shut him down. I think they shut him down. I don't think he needs to play anymore. I think. Let's roll him out. Let's get him healthy. Him and Scat next year. I think roll Jameis.
Along with Malik Neighbors too. Like I'm the same. I just don't think that's going to happen. But that's what I would do if I was the head coach of the Giants. I'd be like, all right, Jackson Dart.
I was the GM. Good. Yeah,
you're good. I don't need to see you play again this season. We'll worry about next year.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Number 1, Drake May. He's been absolutely sensational this season. MVP Jonathan Taylor, but I mean, if I had to get a vote, if there was another vote that I can get, I mean, he's probably going to be top 5 in MVP voting. Drake May this season, he's been probably, if not the best if not one of the best quarterback this season. Number 2, Jalen Hurts. I like him this week going up against Dallas. That's going to be a track meet. I like him to get a couple rushing touchdowns this week. Josh Allen just coming off 6 touchdown performance last week. So I expect him to, continue that against Houston, who's pretty much hitting a little bit of a skid last couple of weeks. Number 4, I got Matthew Stafford. 5, Lamar Jackson going up against the Jets. That one, that game could be, slightly, defensive in my opinion. I
doubt it, but
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the Jet. I don't know if I don't trust that offense, so to speak. I don't like what I really have seen out of Lamar Jackson since coming back in a way. But I know I know that they were playing the Cleveland Browns last week.
mean,
So I
that
can't
defense,
really make that. Yeah, the defense
Cleveland
is
Browns defense is ridiculous.
it's good. Yeah. So that's
I mean, Miles Garrett
compared to
has
the Jets, like
Miles Garrett has 15 sacks already this season. Like
that's
he
incredible.
only needs 8 in the final 7. He needs 1 per game to break that record of
That's
Strahan.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Number 6, Caleb Williams. Man, he's been playing lights out football this season. He's got another good matchup this week against Pittsburgh. I mean, at home, I like the Bears at home. I mean, Ben Johnson's really turned that team around, that offense around. They got some, he's got Cole Kmet back now, so he's got 2, good tight ends. Obviously, I talked about Roma Dunze all week. You got 2 good running backs and Monangai and Swift. Offensive line's playing good. I like Caleb Williams, and he's really, able to extend plays, make plays, and also I like his fantasy production in the red zone as well. Being able to score touchdowns on the ground. We saw the run scramble play that he had. I believe that was last week. Or maybe
he had a bit of a down fantasy day last week. I think he only.
Well, it was a couple weeks ago where he had the scramble for the touchdown on the sideline.
Yeah, was that last week? As for a whole, he's been outstanding in fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. And then Patrick Mahomes, I'm right there, kind of with you, coming off a bye. I think Indianapolis, at home against Indy. I don't really like the Colts on the road. I think that's a terrible game for them. I think Kansas City lights it up a little bit. When it's all said and done, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be a little higher on this list when we look at rankings, quarterbacks. Number 8, Dak Prescott. 9, Sam Darnold. The only reason Sam Darnold is probably this low on the list is because, one, Tennessee's defense is all right, but they might be blowing them out so bad that they might just start running the football and get conservative in the second half.
I think I'm banking on the fact that he's going to be so good. Like, let's say in the
first half,
like that he puts up crazy numbers in the first half, and then they just cruise for the rest of the game.
Exactly. And then at number 10, I got Jordan Love, who has, man, you know what? He's been a top 10 quarterback this season. You look at his stats. He's, I think he's like top 15 in yards, touchdowns. He's got a top 10 QBR. He's got a top 5 QBR, if I'm not mistaken. He's only got 3 interceptions.
He threw that FDR to Christian Watson that game when he talked about
it. Was
a beauty. It was a beauty, dude.
I mean, he does a lot of Brett Favre type shit too. Where he threw that ball to Savion Williams. Is like, okay, go get it, Savion. That's Brett Favre type shit right there. That's not really like, Aaron Rodgers-esque right there. But nonetheless, that arm is special. But yeah, Jordan Love, what a good matchup against Minnesota this week. And then on the outside looking in, I got Jared Goff, Joe Flacco, who I expect to continue to put up numbers in probably another loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Brock Purdy, who came back, I believe he scored, 3 or 4 touchdowns last week for the San Francisco 49ers. Yep. As they blew out, I believe it was Arizona. Yeah, Arizona. So good matchup this week for Brock Purdy once again going up against Carolina, who is sneaky good.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? I wish I would have came on the show yesterday, but we had wrestling practice. Yeah, Carolina's been sneaky good. And then my options in FanDuel, Jameis Winston, we talked about a little bit, and Shedeur Sanders as well. Nobody else, I think, is worthy. Maybe Tyler Shuck, like you said, first win. But other than that, I don't really see a cheaper option, other than those 3 that will give you some type of value. Maybe Mason Rudolph if Aaron Rodgers is out. Yeah.
I also think it's interesting the discrepancy between where we have Brock Purdy in both of our rankings. Like you have him at 13, I have him at 5. Like I'm super high on Brock Purdy this week. I think he's going to be. I think that's going to be a high scoring game.
I think Carolina. I just that Carolina team is all season they have elevated their performance to the team that they're playing. And like you see the teams that like maybe a team that's like same level, maybe they should probably win, which is maybe every week that they're not favored at all. They kind of stoop down to that level. But like teams that they have played, like when they beat the Packers a few weeks back, nobody expected that, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, they've had played very well. I mean, golly, I know Dallas isn't lightened, but I mean, they were right there with Dallas early in the season, where Rico Dowd had 200-yard performances back.
You got the revenge dagger.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, Carolina, I mean, Atlanta, I mean, come back and win that game. Straight, man. That team is straight. Ted McMillan's.
Yeah,
he's the real deal, Holyfield, man. So,
moving on from the quarterbacks, let's talk about them rock toters. Let's start with your running backs.
My running backs, yeah, I got Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1. And then shooting all the way to number 2. I'm really high on Travion Henderson this week. Going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, I think Travion Henderson, what did he have? He had 3 touchdowns last week, or was it a couple weeks ago? He's been a monster.
He had 2 touchdowns he did have 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns last week. Then he had 2 touchdowns the week before that. I mean, he's just been like
a monster on a tear, a touchdown tear. So give me Travion Henderson. That's going to be an up and down game made for New England. For New England, Travion Henderson, I think he's going to have a monster game. Then at number 3, I got Saquon Barkley. 4, Christian McCaffrey. Still top 5 back, still going to put up numbers, especially with Brock Purdy. His fantasy value goes up a little higher. At number 5, I got Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan's, up there with probably top 2 or 3 best. These are probably the top 5 running backs, except for Travion Henderson. James Cook, you got to throw James Cook in there as a top 5 back. Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, James Cook. Saquon Barkley's had an underwhelming season. Derrick Henry, obviously. I mean, no Lamar Jackson for a few weeks. Numbers ain't been there, but I think he's going to come on strong as the season, as the playoffs come into the fantasy playoffs. At number 6, James Cook, right on cue. I think he's he at one point I'm pretty sure he still leads the league in rushing. Oh no, that's Jonathan Taylor probably.
No, Jonathan Taylor for sure does.
For sure, yeah. But at one point, he was leading the league in rushing.
Like the first week.
The first 4 or 5 weeks, David. Come on, don't do James Cook like that. Don't do James Cook like that.
James Cook is still the second highest. So he's got 968 yards. He's the second highest. But Jonathan Taylor has him beat by almost 150 yards at this point.
That's incredible. Going up against Houston, I like that matchup for James Cook. And then Jonathan Taylor. This is gonna be a rough matchup. I mean, you want to say he's matchup proof, but I don't know. Spags defense on the road against a pretty solid running defense in Kansas City.
Yep,
I have Jonathan Taylor a little low on my list here, a little lower than you.
I think if you're Kansas City, I mean, you're loading up that box. I mean, let's see if Danny Dimes can beat us.
Yeah, exactly. Number 8,
I'm not letting Jonathan Taylor beat us, like anybody but Jonathan Taylor.
Well, I mean, we'll get to wide receivers next. I mean, Alec Pierce has been playing lights out football last month. Number 8, I got Kyron Williams.
Alec Pierce has made himself a lot of money in the last month.
Yeah. Oh my. Derrick Henry at number 9, and Woody Marks at number 10. And you're probably wondering why Woody Marks, because Houston's probably going to be down in that game.
I like Woody Marks.
And Woody Marks. And Woody Marks is the passing down. He's actually the lead back now. I don't think Nick Chubb is anything anymore.
He's the every down back at this point.
He's the every down back now. Before he was just the passing down guy, but they're going to be down. They're going to have to get back in the passing game.
I mean,
Woody Marks is going to.
I think that game could be lower scoring than people think.
You think so?
But Woody Marks, I think that Buffalo defense is still successful to the run. I still think Woody Marks should have a good game.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a great game. I think especially in PPR leagues, I think he's going to catch a few balls, have 30 or 40 receiving yards, hopefully a couple touchdowns as well. And then on my outside looking in, I got Quinshon Judkins, who, I believe that, against the Raiders, I think he should have a monster game. And the Cleveland Browns are going to run the football, right? You want to help out your rookie quarterback, you got to run the football with Quinshon Judkins. I like him to have a nice fantasy output this week. Rico Dowdell. The only reason he's a little lower is because, I don't, if they are down, 2 or 3 touchdowns. I mean, 2 touchdowns or so to San Francisco, which I don't think so. I don't think that would happen, but something smells like that. Where
I also
I think
that,
Rico Dowdell doesn't really.
Chuba Hubbard has kind of been eating into his touches just a little bit there too for Carolina.
Yeah, well, he's still considered the lead back. He took a little, leverage over the lead back there. But I mean, if it's a nip and tuck game, I mean, look for Rico Dowdell to get some big, some key third downs and some big yards late in the game. He's just been a really nice north and south runner this year. And then Travis Etienne as well, right on my top 13. And then my cheap options in FanDuel are Emmanuel Wilson, who's the backup running back in Green Bay. With
probably going to get the start.
Probably is going to get this. Josh Jacobs is banged up a little bit. Probably going to get another start. Yeah, didn't practice today. So I like Emmanuel Wilson. He had a pretty solid output, 40 yards or so last week. Give him the full-fledged of touches. I think he has about 80 yards, maybe a touchdown.
And I like I also like Chris Brooks in that offense a little bit too. Like depending on how they want to use him in Green Bay.
Yeah, and then at 5,800, Devin Singletary, who's still the number 2 back in that offense, but I can't disregard 2 touchdowns last week. I like him to play a key part in at least the passing game as well. Obviously, running the football as well, but I like Devin Singletary. This week possibly as a cheap option. Why not? Hail Mary.
So. Moving on from your running backs, let's talk about mine. And I got CMC at number 1. With Brock Purdy back, that Christian McCaffrey offense, his use in the offense should just expand. I am a little bit concerned about down the stretch stuff. Like if they decide to ramp down, because Christian McCaffrey's usage right now is absurd. And I'm not sure if they want him to continue having that kind of usage rate as we head towards the playoffs. Look for Brian Robinson to get a little bit more involved in this offense from week to week. But as long as they're going to continue to ride Christian McCaffrey, you got to continue to plug him in your lineup and play him because he's just been awesome this season. And number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs. He was like the entire offense of the Detroit Lions last week against Philadelphia. You could make the argument without Jahmyr Gibbs, that game was going to be a bloodbath. He already kind of was with him on the lineup, but Jahmyr Gibbs carried that offense for Detroit. Number 3, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, a little bit higher on Jonathan Taylor. I just think he's been matchup proof, and he's been too good to just put him anywhere else. 4, Derrick Henry. He's been kind of a little bit touchdown dependent over the last couple of weeks. But he's going up against a good matchup, with no Quentin Williams there for the New York Jets. Derrick Henry should have a good day at the office. We just saw what Travion Henderson just did against the same defense on Thursday Night Football. And Derrick Henry, no disrespect to Travion Henderson, is the king. And then number 5, I got Travion Henderson. I look for him to build that momentum. I know Ramondre Stevenson is potentially going to come back, but I don't think you can take touches away from a guy who's had 5 touchdowns in 2 weeks. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you got to roll with the hot hand. 6, Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons. I never know what version of Atlanta I'm going to find, but I think Kirk Cousins is going to be doing the check down stuff to Bijan Robinson. Look for him and Tyler Algier. Both they have pretty good value for Atlanta going up against New Orleans in the Bayou. Number 7, Kyron Williams. He's just become steady, reliable. There's nobody really taking touches from him. I know Blake Corum's there, but Kyron Williams has been a good running back, and you just continue to plug and play him if you got him in your lineup. Number 8, Saquon Barkley. Yeah, a little bit lower on Saquon, but he just hasn't been the same guy this season. I don't know if it's like the last season kind of took a toll on him and his body, but he just doesn't look like the same guy this season as opposed to last season. He was just breaking crazy runs last year. We haven't seen any of that this year out of Saquon Barkley. Number 9, Travis Etienne. I think Jacksonville Jaguars are going to continue to be committed to running the football. I think they understand that their wide receiving core is kind of banged up right now with BTJ still out, and Travis Hunter still out as well. Jacoby Myers and the rest of that offense really isn't all that good. So Travis Etienne, I think, has really good value. Number 10, James Cook III. A little bit lower on Cook than you are. In fact, I actually didn't have him ranked at all. And then I took Kenneth Walker out because I don't trust their running back usage at all in Seattle. But that that Houston Texans defense is for real, and they've limited every offense that they've played so far this season. And I think they're going to have a little bit. I think they're going to stifle Buffalo just a little bit there. That's why I got James Cook a little bit lower than I would normally. And then outside looking in, I got Woody Marks. I think, Buffalo is successful to run. I think Woody Marks is going to be used in the passing game. He's an every down back now. He's a must-own in all formats. Then Quinshon Judkins, same deal. I mean, he's a three down back. And Javonte Williams had his most touches of the season last week against Las Vegas. I think they're going to continue to give him all the touches there against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then my sneaky and daily, Michael Carter with 4,400. I know there's potential that Trey Benson can be reactivated off the IR this week. Actually, it's been the case for the last few weeks. But with Mercado going down with an injury, it's really just him and Bam Knight now. And I like the usage because Michael Carter was the starter before he got hurt. So look for him to have some increased usage there with the Mercado being out. And then if you want to do an absolute wild dart throw, Raheem Mostert, who is the backup in Las Vegas to Ashton Genty, if you trust that running game at all there for the Las Vegas Raiders, after Ashton Genty only had 5 touches and Raheem Mostert had 2, and he looked pretty effective with those 2 touches. But Raheem Mostert's that guy where he could take one to the house. He's got crazy speed. 40,000 for a guy who can one house call is all you really need out of him. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a big controversy of them, the Raiders not feeding Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No, I don't get it. It's like the kid was amazing at Boise State.
You use a top 5 pick on a running back, and you give him 5 touches in a game on Monday Night Football. Like it doesn't make a whole lot. You have your Geno Smith, who's been terrible at times.
Terrible.
You have him throw it at 47 times. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Offensive line is just not good all around. Yeah. It's not good in Vegas.
So swinging over from running backs, let's talk about them pass catchers. Let's talk about wide receivers. And my number 1 is JSN. He's on pace still to break Calvin Johnson's record. Took a little bit of a dip last week with that production, but he's been incredible this season, and there's no reason he shouldn't continue to be incredible against the Tennessee Titans this weekend. And then the guy is going to try to bounce back after just an okay performance. An okay St. Brown performance is the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Detroit has a pretty favorable matchup there as they go up against. My memory is just not good right now.
Detroit's going against New York Giants.
Yeah, New York. Sorry, the Giants, who don't have the best secondary in the NFL there. And then I got Puka Nacua of the Los Angeles Rams as they continue to try to build up momentum going against Tampa Bay. We kind of saw what that defense looked like last week. Stephon Diggs at number 4. I'm surprised that you're as high as Stephon Diggs as I am, but I think that Patriots offense is going to be clicking. And Stephon Diggs has been kind of on a roll.
He's been amazing, last month or so. Yeah, that pass offense, him and Drake May, they just seems like they've been playing for years together.
Yeah, 100%. And people were concerned with him coming off that ACL tear when he had in Houston, but he had a couple of slow weeks, but ever since the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's been on an absolute tear. 5, CeeDee Lamb going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, a little bit lower than I would normally be on CeeDee Lamb, but that Eagles defense has been just lights out over the last month or so. So look, if you got CeeDee Lamb, you're obviously starting him. Same thing with Justin Jefferson too. If you got Justin Jefferson, you're playing him no matter what. And the secondary is kind of the way to beat Green Bay, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks. And then
I see my rankings.
Staying in the NFC North, I got Rome Odunze of my Chicago Bears going up against Pittsburgh. 8, Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens going up against the New York Jets with no Sauce Gardner. And then number 9, I got Emeka Egbuka going up against the Los Angeles Rams in beautiful SoFi Stadium. Emeka Egbuka, a little bit lower on Egbuka than you are, but I think the Rams defense has been really good this season, and it has been able to limit big-time wide receivers. And then Nico Collins at number 10. Buffalo, the defense, I think they're going to give up points that may be higher scoring than maybe people predicted. But Nico Collins at number 10. And then my outside looking in, I got Rashee Rice, probably going to be locked up by Sauce Gardner for the majority of that game. And then on the virtuoso performance by Tetairoa McMillan, I got him at number 12 and the Carolina Panthers going up against San Fran. And then, if you didn't know, hear the news already, Jamar Chase will not play in that game for Cincinnati. going up against. Man, my memory is just not having it right now. The New
Jamar
England
Chase
Patriots.
going against New England.
Yeah, sorry. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase is going to be suspended for spitting another player in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So T. Higgins is the guy that I like in Cincinnati. So roll the dice with T. Higgins. And then my Sticky and Daily, Rashid Shaheed at 4,600. He hasn't really had that moment yet for the Seattle Seahawks ever since he got traded over there. This could be the game where he has that moment. And then John Mechie III, who shout out to him. He beat leukemia a few years ago. Now catching touchdowns in the NFL. Had his second touchdown in his career for the New York Jets last weekend. But 3,300. I think there's some rapport there, maybe potentially with Tyrod Taylor. But the Baltimore Ravens defense has been successful, has given up big plays in the passing game so far this season. I know they've been better over the last month, but I think John Mechie's worth the dice roll at 3,300.
Rashid Shaheed, I was super close to putting him as even in a top 13 probably, because I think another week under that offense, learning the offensive system, he's going to be real valuable, especially if JSN's getting double teamed. I mean, he's a guy that you can use all over the field. And we saw they tried to do that in his debut with them. So I think he's just a guy that's just only going to get better in that offense. And I think at 4,600 in DraftKings, I don't know what he was cheap in FanDuel too. He's a steal at that because his value is only going to increase every week. I expect him to have a decent game this week as well.
I totally agree with you on
that.
Yeah,
going up against Tennessee, because I think Tennessee's going to key in on JSN. I mean, he's going to get his no matter what because he's going to get targeted. But I think Rashid Shaheed is going to be a guy that they don't key in on, and he can win on one-on-ones, and they can put him in a slot, and they can do like little jet sweeps, and they can do wide receiver screens with him and all types of things. I mean, he's a real versatile player out of that in the wide receiver room. And then another one, kind of going back to your rankings when I talk about Emeka Egbuka, and I'll get into it. 22 targets in the last 2 weeks. That's it's just the volume for me. I know how good the Rams defense is, but 22 targets is 22 targets. Yeah. He's getting a high volume share from Baker Mayfield. I mean, he had 9 targets. Last week. Albeit, he didn't. It was in somewhat of a pedestrian week. 5 catches for 40 yards, but the week before that, 13 targets. He had 6 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that was
every week he gets a little bit healthier. He gets further removed from that hamstring injury that he originally got banged up a little bit earlier in the season. Yeah. So he's just getting healthier and healthier as we go on through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And number 1, I got Puka Nacua. Yes, he is matchup proof. Puka Nacua is one of those guys that if he's not going, Devontae Adams opens up a lot for him. In the second half of last week's game against Seattle, he didn't have much of a good first half. The second half, he got most of his production in one half. So he's that special. He's almost as matchup proof as you can be and as solid as you can be. Only one bad game, and that was against Baltimore, where I believe he might have gotten hurt.
I think he got hurt, and I think I don't think he played in the second half of that game. He may have played, but I think they used him as like a decoy.
So he's been torching NFL defenses all season. Number 2, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, he's getting targeted like a bajillion times a game. I mean, I didn't even look at his targets last week or the week before, but I mean, golly, 18 targets in the last 2 games. I mean, it doesn't even matter.
12 targets in that game.
12 targets last week, 9 catches. It was ridiculous. Yeah. At number 3, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. 4, Emeka Egbuka, we just talked about him. 5, Stephon Diggs, who's been really good. Looks like him and Drake May. See, that report is just incredible. You could tell they probably were like working out in the off season, like summertime. I mean, they just look like they've been playing for years. It's kind of reminiscent of Josh Allen days in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs. He's super comfortable there. Number 6, Devontae Smith. I know that one's out of left field for you, probably.
No,
you're I like it. What is going on with Devontae Smith?
He's been the better wide receiver there in Philadelphia. This season, period. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, and so with him, it's like he's the guy that's going to take the top off the defense. Even though I know he had a pedestrian game first week of the season, I don't hold that against anybody. Really. I mean, he only had 3 catches against Dallas. I like him this week in Dallas. I think he has a big game. I think he can have a game like he did against Minnesota, where he had 9 catches for 183 yards, type of deal. I mean, he's going to have a big game, I think, against Dallas. At number 7, I got T. Higgins. He at the end of the week, he'd probably be a little higher than this. That target share is going to be incredible with him. I mean, he's going to get targeted so many times in that game against New England from Joe Flacco. He'll probably have about 15 targets when it's all said and done.
I think so. Yeah,
15 to 20 targets. I wouldn't say 20, but god dang, he'll have it. He'll
maybe,
be up there.
Maybe.
Maybe. And number 8, Rashee Rice. So another guy you got to look out for is Yoshibas as well. He's a guy that in daily fantasy. Yeah, Andre Yoshibas is a guy to look out for. At 8, Rashee Rice. Number 9, I got Nico Collins, and then right at the top 10 is CD Lamb this week, which I honestly I was battling myself with putting Pickens there. But nonetheless, I think that's going to be a hell of a game. I got CD Lamb, AJ Brown, George Pickens, 9, 10, 11, 12 in my rankings. And at number 13, I got Justin Jefferson. I'm low on him. I just think JJ McCarthy is going to get pressured all game long against the Packers. He's going to try his best to get at Justin Jefferson, but it's not going to be a good game against. And I'm not being a homer because I'm a Packer fan. I'm just saying that JJ McCarthy has not been good at all. If they don't get the running game going against the Packers, it could be a long day in the pocket for him. And obviously Justin Jefferson, who's had a great career against Green Bay. Some of his best games have come against Green Bay, which is, surprising that I don't have him higher, but I just don't see it this week. But I still got him in the top 13, which is not bad. I'm not disrespecting him totally, but I mean, next year it'll probably be a lot better for him. Minnesota's not going to win more than 8 games this year.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
they may not win another game this year. So.
Yeah. So, and then my cheap option in FanDuel 6,100. I got Alec Pierce. Really like Alec. I mean, the last month Alec Pierce has been absolutely sensational. And then number 2 at 5,600, I like Jerry Jeudy. First team. I mean, I think that Shedeur Sanders is a guy that's going to push the ball down the field. He's going to take those risks. He's a deep threat. Jerry Jeudy's a deep threat kind of guy, and he was getting wide. He was getting wide open, especially on those outs and like some of those plays that they were drawing up in the second half when Shedeur did come in. I'll expect Jerry Jeudy to have a pretty big game against Vegas this week. At 5,600, he's a steal. I mean, people should just be rushing.
He's stupid cheap in DraftKings too. But I had Jerry Jeudy as like my sneaky and daily for like the last 2 weeks in a row. So
he wasn't doing anything. Yeah.
No, he had one really good week, but yeah. So I kind of was like, I'm going to go a different direction this week. But yeah, I like that Jerry Jeudy call. I also love the Alec Pierce call. I mean, that dude has been just otherworldly for like the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
From your wide receivers, let's talk about them bulkier catchers and tight ends. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, yeah. So at number 1, man, my number 1 tight end is going to be Trey McBride. I mean, going up against Jacksonville at home, I mean, he's going to get, a whole bunch of targets as well, like he's been all season. In the last 2 weeks, 24 targets. He's been absolutely sensational the last 2 weeks. 127 yards against Seattle, 115 last week against San Francisco. Yes, blowouts, but nonetheless, he's been, dude, in the last 5 games, he's got 6 touchdowns. Like, we were talking about Trey McBride last year had like what? He had all these yards and 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. Everyone's, dude, he's got a whole bunch of touchdowns this year. So yeah, Trey McBride's number 1. And number 2, I got George Kittle. He shoots up. I think he's been shooting up since he's gotten healthy, and he especially shoots up with Brock Purdy back in the fold. I like George Kittle. At number 3, Brock Bowers. He's, I mean,
I
he doesn't look healthy.
I think he's the only part of that offense for Las Vegas that you can trust even a little bit. Like, I think everything else has just been a dumpster fire. Like,
I can't take him out the top 5 because I'm gonna die on that hill that Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football. At number 4, Tyler Warren, who's had a great rookie season. Number 5, Hunter Henry, who's quietly had. I mean, nobody's talking about Hunter Henry that much.
He's had a top 10-ish season already.
This year. Nice. He's been pretty nice this year, and he's pretty much the security blanket for Drake May in that offense. It's still number 6, Travis Kelce. 7, Jake Ferguson, who's pretty much the third option in that offense in the passing game. And number 8, Dallas Goedert, who Dallas Goedert's really boomer bust in my opinion. That's why he's at number 8. I would have him higher if he was a little bit more consistent. But like when he's on, he's gonna have a great fantasy match, great fantasy output. When Jalen Hurts is not having a good game and not getting it to Dallas Goedert, expect to have single-digit output. Israel, Jesus Christ, man. Sorry about that. You got 10-year-olds screaming over there, man. Anyways, at number 9, I got Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz. Yeah, baby. Dalton Schultz.
His target share is crazy right now.
It is crazy right now. His target share is stupid right now.
Especially with Davis Mills under center for the Houston Texans, which will continue this weekend. I said something yesterday. I think this Houston Texans offense almost looks better with Davis Mills under center than it has with CJ Stroud under center so far this season.
Oh man, remember the days when I was super high on Davis Mills?
I remember.
And then you guys made sure to remind me that he wasn't that great. You know what I mean? But then I hit gold when I was high on Jalen Hurts a few years ago.
You're right.
And they couldn't say nothing about me. But yeah, Dalton Schultz, 20 targets in the last 2 games. He's been absolutely a really great tight end. 28 targets in the last 3 games. And at number 10, I got Colson Loveland. It sucks for him because Cole Kmet's back, so it kind of eats into his production a little bit. But Colson Loveland, I mean, in the last few weeks, I mean, he's been really good for the Chicago Bears. Yeah. And I think with Cole Kmet back, it does kind of take a little spice off of his production. But I mean, he's averaging per catch. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, he's averaging over 13, I think it's like 14 yards per catch. And I mean, so he's a big play threat for the Chicago Bears in that offense. And then round out my top 10. Next slide, David. Sorry about that. I didn't get my rankings up. Yeah, around on my outside, I got Theo Johnson, Cade Otton, and Harold Fannin Jr., which David Njoku is probably going to be out this game. I don't believe he practiced today. So Harold Fannin is a guy that I saw that dig route that Shedeur threw for like 20 yards to him, and I said, "Oh my gosh, he's a guy that we got to look at next week." If Shedeur's getting that ball, but I like Harold Fannin, especially with David Njoku out. And then boom, my cheap option in FanDuel is Harold Fannin at $5,000. Harold Fannin Jr., man, I think he's gonna have a solid game. And then at 4,800, Darnell Washington, who he was on a yeah, dude, he's just bullying people. He was on the St. Brown's podcast, and they questioned his weight, and he was like, they were like, "How much do you weigh?" He's like, "I'm not going to tell you," or whatever. They're like, "Come on," and he's like, "I weigh 311 pounds at tight end, 6'8", 311 pounds. Are you kidding me?" Yeah, give me Darnell Washington. He's been. I mean, that play enough was just for me to be like, "Holy smokes!" Like seriously, man. And I don't even know. Honestly, I didn't even look at his game. I know he had a pretty solid game too. He had 4 catches for 67 yards. I mean, he's kind of boomer bust as well. But he's a guy that they're going to look to get him the ball more and more as the season progresses, especially in the red zone, in my opinion. So, Darnell Washington.
Moving on from your tight ends, let's swing into mine. I got Tyler Warren at number 1. for the Indianapolis Colts coming off that bye, going into Arrowhead. Tyler Warren has been everything you can ever imagine out of a tight end you take in the first round. He's been awesome. Also kind of sort of manifesting how good he's going to be because I have him in a billion fantasy teams. So if I put him at number 1, he'll be the number 1 tight end this week. So let's make that happen. Number 2, right behind him, Trey McBride, who's just been on another level like this season and last season. There's no denying Trey McBride. And Brock Bowers, he had a monster game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Came back down to earth big time against the Dallas Cowboys, but the targets are still there. I still think he's going to be heavily involved in this passing attack. And he's the only part of that offense I have any interest in at all. Number 4, Mark Andrews. He's just scored touchdowns like almost every week now since Lamar Jackson's been back. So Mark Andrews, I think, is somebody I'm high on this week. 5 by George Kittle, who, since he's returned from his injury, has also been awesome for that offense for San Francisco. Dallas Goedert, I think he'll get into the end zone against the Dallas Cowboys, his former team, actually. 7, Jake Ferguson in that same game. He's just been an absolute must start at the tight end position, Jake Ferguson. And talking about a must start, Theo Johnson, relatively unknown when the season started, has come a guy that you cannot take out of your lineup. He's just catching touchdowns. Doesn't really seem to matter who the quarterback was. Obviously, his production was better when Jackson Dart was there. But Theo Johnson, I think, is somebody that next season, I think Theo Johnson is going to be somebody you draft super late in fantasy drafts, and you end up reaping the benefits all season long. Number 9, old reliable Travis Kelce. Going up against a kind of a tough Colts off defense. He could end up having to block a little bit more there, but Travis Kelce's, he's going to get it probably into the end zone for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, Tony Henry kind of talked about, quietly had a fantastic fantasy season. Gives you about 8 points every single week. If he gets in the touchdown, it's even better. And then my outside looking is Kate Otten, Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz, and A.J. Barner, who has quietly had a really nice fantasy season at the tight end position for the Seattle Seahawks. Has kind of become that pseudo second option for Sam Darnold in this passing attack, as long as Rashid Shaheed's getting up to speed, and Cooper Kupp has just kind of been a little bit banged up so far this season. And then my sneaky and daily is Cole Kmet at 2,500. Came back off that injury last week. Was pretty involved in the passing game. Look for him to continue to be involved going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers and that secondary. At 2,500 for the tight end is not terrible. And Cole Kmet looked pretty good in his game back. So from the tight ends, let's swing on to the other side of the football. Let's talk about defense. And my number 1 defense is the same as yours. Actually, our first 2 defenses are exactly the same. I got Seattle going up against the bad Titans defense. The Ravens going up against Tyrod Taylor and the New York Jets. The Browns going up against Las Vegas. And we kind of saw what that offense looked like against the Dallas Cowboys this most recent weekend. The Detroit Lions going up against Jameis Winston. He's become the new Phillip Rivers. He's probably going to give you 1 if he does get the start, which I'm with you. I think I would probably start Jameis or Russell Wilson for the remainder of the season, and I wouldn't put Jackson Dart back into the lineup. Number 5, got the Green Bay Packers going up against the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy just hasn't looked good this season. Let's give a spade a spade. He has looked pretty pedestrian for majority of the season so far. And then my outside looking in, I got the New England Patriots going up against a pretty favorable matchup there with the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Flacco. The Las Vegas Raiders potentially getting after Shedeur Sanders. And then I got the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against Jacoby Brissett and the Arizona Cardinals. That game is in Duval County. So shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then my sneaky and daily is the New Orleans Saints at 2,500. They did have a really good day at the office before their bye against the Carolina Panthers, but now they're going up against Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons with no Drake London. So that could be an option in daily at 2,500. Very, very cheap when it comes to defense, and they could get after Kirk Cousins, who's kind of turned into a statue there coming off that Achilles tear. But if that game ends up becoming a shootout, I apologize in advance because it could go that way too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Number 1, Seattle Seahawks are probably a lock for this week when it comes to everything. Wins, defense, offense, players, going up against the Tennessee Titans team that just isn't really good at all. Number 2, I got the Baltimore Ravens going up against the New York Jets. Same reason. They probably should be another like the way that defense has been flying around the ball. They've gotten healthy last month. Green Bay Packers going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Love that matchup. The Cleveland Browns versus the Vegas Raiders. Cleveland, I think, is going to have a really good defensive week this week versus the Raiders.
Myles Garrett may break the sack record in this game.
And I would be surprised if he does that. And then at number 5, I got the New England Patriots against the Cincinnati Bengals. I expect that defense to turn Joe Flacco over a few times in this game, as they'll probably be down and they'll try and force the issue. And then I'm outside looking in. I got the Falcons, the Bills, and the Jaguars going up against the Arizona Cardinals this week. Although I don't like the Jaguars, I really don't trust the Jaguars on the road as much as I like them in.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. This game is not in Duval County.
I think Jacksonville.
This is in the toaster.
I think Jacksonville is money at home. Like if it was a team, like if you were like wild card, you had to play Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Like I think Jacksonville's money at home. That's just me. And then at 3,900, I like the Chiefs as my chief option in FanDuel. I think. Like David said, they're going to stack the box. Jonathan Taylor, they're going to make somebody else beat you. And I think Daniel Jones will have a game like he did a couple weeks ago, right? Where I forgot who they freaking played. Let me look it up. But he didn't have a great game. Was it Pittsburgh? Yeah, where he didn't have a great game. Look for that kind of output. And he has kind of cooled off in the last couple weeks, right? Pittsburgh only 17 fantasy points.
Atlanta
he 16
pretty well
points.
against Atlanta. I don't know.
Yeah, 16 fantasy points. He's thrown 4 interceptions in his last 2 games. Daniel Jones is kind of coming back down to earth a little bit from the start of the season. So.
And that's been our rankings for week number 12. But before we get up out of here, like we do every single week, Izzy, do you know who the number 1 scorer was in fantasy in week number 11?
This one should be an easy one. It's Josh Allen.
Josh Allen with 42.68 fantasy points. He threw for 317 yards. He had 3 tutties. He had 6 carries for 3 other touchdowns. The crazy thing is his number of stat line could have even been better because he also threw 2 picks in this game. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. He could have had like 46 fantasy points.
Can you name who the top 5 fantasy scorers was from this past week? I don't think you can. I'll be surprised if you can get more than 3 of them.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. You're gonna get me on this one. No, I think one of them's got to be Drake May. Maybe
Drake May is not in the top 10 even.
He's not even in the top 10.
No, Drake May had a pretty because his running back got a bunch of his fantasy points. So
Travion Henderson is one of them.
Travion Henderson's number 6 with 32.3 fantasy points.
Okay. George Pickens is one of them. Definitely
George Pickens is not. George Pickens was in number 10.
Are you kidding me?
With 29.4 fantasy points.
Jesus Christ, man. Shoot.
One of these guys in the top 5 is like a stalwart. Like he's always kind of this guy.
Top five running back. It's got to be a running back. It wasn't Jonathan Taylor. It's got to be Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey finished at number 2, 35.1 fantasy points. I do not think you'll get the other 3 guys. Number 3, Sean Tucker with 19 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 catches and another touchdown. Good for 34 fantasy points, 3rd highest score in fantasy in week number 11. And then number 4 is Michael Wilson, who had 15 carries for 185 yards, good for 33.5 fantasy points in week number 11. And then a bit of a coming out party for this guy, Tedero McMillan, with 8 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including the game tying touchdown there for Carolina. 33 fantasy points for him. And just rounding out the top 10, I got Travion Henderson, Bryce Young, Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Gainwell, and then George Pickens at number 10. But when things are all said and done, when we close this book up on week number 12, who's going to be the number one scorer in fantasy?
I'm gonna go with Drake May this week against Cincinnati. Some tells me he's gonna have a couple. He's gonna have like a Josh Allen-esque game, 5 touchdowns total, 5+ touchdowns total.
I'm going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba. I know I've said him a bunch of times as we've done these shows from week to week, but the dude's just been on another level so far this season. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is my prediction for who will be the number one scorer in fantasy in week number 12. We should kind of like be writing this stuff down and see how if we're right ever.
I know I was right one time, man. I can't remember what I said, but
yeah, one time. We got it right one time.
One time.
We've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah, one time we got to write it down. We'll start keeping track, moving forward.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been Prime Sports World. This is our Week 12 fantasy football rankings. We do appreciate you guys continuing to check us out. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David Huffman. Right there is Izzy Rivera, fresh off winning his Super Bowl. Little Izzy winning his Super Bowl. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to Super Dad, brother. Let's go. Yeah, and what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, baby.
Don't throw the trophy.
No, I'm not going to throw the trophy at all. Not going to throw the trophy.
We'll be back here next week with breaking down week number 13 in the National Football League. I think Izzy's going to be back here on Friday. We're returning College Football Showdown.
Yeah, I'll actually be back to my normal scheduled program, except for I don't think I could do Mondays anymore. It's trying. We were, and then it was like, yeah. So yeah,
we'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back here. Izzy will be back here on Friday. I'll be back here next Tuesday. Y'all have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Peace out, brother.
Peace out, guys.